a mic check from everyone real quick.
Check. Hello?
1, 2, 3.
Yo, check.
Mr. President, a second plane has hit the tower. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, terrible news to start the podcast. In this situation, who is the president?
In all my situation, Kevin is always the president.
Thank you.
Hey!
Back to the, what was the children's book that was being read at that time?
That's a great question, actually. I have no idea.
Let's finish the story.
Yeah.
Oh, hell. Well, everyone, this is time, podcast time. Here we are. We're here to chat about life, love, and the pursuit of grumpy music, I suppose. So thank you all for being here. God's End is in the building. Make some noise for the internet. Woo! Insert digital applause later. I've been saying insert digital applause later for like the past 30 episodes. I haven't done it once. Maybe I'll make an exception for you guys. We'll see how it goes.
Perfect.
So I want to thank you all for taking the time to come by today, to come to my little neck of the woods, my little corner of the internet.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, man.
Hang out, have some beverages, and talk about angry music. So what's the scoop here? What's the deal? Tell me a bit about the band.
What do you want to know?
I want to know why in this world, when we're trying to grow up, well, maybe we're trying to grow up. I don't know you all that well. We're trying to grow up, though. Trying to do things with ourselves. Why are we still doing this band thing? It's fucking annoying. It's a ton of work. Too much effort goes into it for very little payoff. So why do it?
It's fun.
Good answer.
Yeah, feels good. Feels good.
Just hanging out with the boys, honestly.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like you get into those conversations with like other people that maybe aren't in the music world, friends, family, relatives, and stuff like that. And it's like, it's always about like money and like, oh, you guys been getting money or doing this or you touring and all that stuff. I was like, well, there's like a little bit of that, but really I'm just like hanging out with my homies.
Yep.
And that's just like it. And like the harder it gets, like the older you get, the harder it is to like find time to just like hang out with your friends. And I feel like if I didn't have a band, I would never fucking see my friends. I mean, it would be cool to maybe like have a way to hang out with my friends that wasn't at times so like stressful and like creatively draining, but I guess it's still fun. This is what I'm going to do. I don't think there's ever going to be a point in my life where like I can't like think about making music or doing something. Even if I like try to just hang out with my homies, like, oh yeah, that movie, yeah, that video game. It's like, give it 10 minutes and we're just like, bro, did you check out that new fucking neural guitar plugin? And like, we're just fucking going off, it's like, it's just in our fucking DNA.
Oh yeah.
So, with this particular band, this is a newer creation. I know that you're just starting to get things rolling here, but you're coming at it swinging.
Mm-hmm.
As I've seen, you're not starting light. You're like, hey, we're here. So when did the band get started? And, what is, your reasoning for just being very just like, boom, 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 content, go, 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 go. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Must have started toward the end of 2022, and that was just more of a DIY thing. And then as we progressed, these guys kind of got involved. Everyone chiming in with their own ideas and things. And that's kind of where we're at with 2024. So 2023, at the end of that, we had the new EP ready to go, but we didn't have content ready to go yet. We had kind of like a grand plan of, okay, 2 music videos, kind of build stuff around that, build up the hype, build up everything. And you'll see toward the end of 2023, we posted like one picture saying, hey, EP's done. See you next year. And that was it.
And that was a whole journey that night too.
Yeah. Until we, went out of our way out into Williamsport, Pennsylvania, met with Lee Fence Jamaica, and did a couple music videos. And since then, you're right, it's just been content over and over and over.
Yeah, I think that it's probably one of the most exhausting things for me personally. Like as I try to continue to be a creator, an artist, and put out shit. It's just like, I like being in the studio. I like rehearsing. I like playing shows. Everything else can eat my ass. But like all the other stuff is like so much more important now than it seems like even anything else. Like having like a music video for some reason that looks like everybody else's video is actually more important than being a good band if you want to get known. And it's like, what the fuck? What is this bizarro universe I'm living in? But the times are changing.
See, if I could chime in there, actually, I think that's why like we got such a good setup here. Because me and Tyler, we were actually talking the other day. I feel like each of us sort of bring our own component to this band, which makes us capable of doing that. Like T2, Tyler right over here in the gray shirt, he comes up with like just fantastic ideas off the rip, you know. Kevin over here, he's like our media guy. He's got shit dialed in when it comes to content creation. Then Tyler, he's nuts. He's a big like gearhead and whatnot. He takes care of all of our stuff electronically and everything. He figures out anything that goes wrong on the the technological side of it.
Yeah.
I'm just here to ride the coattails, to carry the bags. But yeah,
Just banging the drums.
Oh yeah, exactly. So it's I mean, like you said, it's tough trying to fit everything into the bag to try to be a band. But with who we got, I think we're gonna be all right with it.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that being a modern band requires so much more than just like knowing the songs. I mean, I know a lot of bands that are doing just fine that don't even know their own songs at this point, but we don't got to talk about that right now. It's just like, you've got to be like, yeah, having people that are like, aware of all the steps that go into this whole like food pyramid, I guess, like a band, whatever the band equivalent is of like the food pyramid. You need like all of those things to be like a healthy band.
Oh yeah.
You got to get all the food groups in there, right? And it's funny. I had a situation recently where I play in two different bands, and one of the bands I play in is called Normal Creatures, and that band has been kind of like my thing, where it's like I'm putting together most of the ideas for all the music, and then I have some friends that come in and they help bring it to life, right? And that's not like an uncommon situation for a lot of things, but like on top of that, I'm also like, I'm always the one that's like, oh, I got the music video idea, I have a merch idea, I have social media stuff, I run all the accounts, like nobody else in the band is really helping with any of that stuff. Not that they wouldn't, but I'm just like a control freak. So like the point that I'm getting at is like recently we just got a new drummer on board, and it's funny because like I've been so used to being like the tech person, where it's like I'm like working on our like in-ear and backtrack setup, and I've never had anybody else that even had like 2 cents of anything, it's any type of input. And then like brought this new drummer on board, and it's like, oh, like what if you tried like A, B, C, and D and all this stuff? And I'm like, whoa, like there's somebody else in the room that can help me with this. Crazy. And it's super cool just to have that like support from other people when it comes to that sort of stuff. And like with Gray Walker, when our bass player joined the band, he was like, hey, like it'd be really cool if like I could help like make sure all the shows are on like Bands in Town and Songkick and all, all that like stupid logistical boring stuff.
Behind
and I was
scenes,
like, tight. It'd be great to have some help doing that. It's like, it's so much weight to carry.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, it's really, really exhausting. So right now you are, getting all this stuff out there and getting some shows. And actually, are you playing some shows? Have you seen? Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're playing out at Maria's spot, right? Shout out to Uniontown.
We just did Maryland. We're doing Pittsburgh at Mr. Small's Fun Room a week and a half from now, something like that. And then, we're playing a couple shows at the end of the month in June in Ohio, Pennsylvania. We're working on New York right now.
Hell yeah. So, with getting into that whole rotation and things of shows, and I guess I don't know like everyone's background as far as like if you've played in other bands prior to this project, or if this is like a first time thing for everybody. Let's go down. What's everyone's background in the scene here? How long we've been playing in bands?
Oh, well, I was in a project in college back in like 2015, 2016. It was called Que Fuerte. is based out of Brooklyn, New York. There was a publication up there who called us Dream Pop, which I have no idea. Like to this day, I don't know what that means. But it was cool, you know. It was like a sort of DIY indie thing and everything. And we were able to, you know, sort of tour the Northeast and whatnot. Other than that, I haven't done anything other than this band since, you know. So it's pretty cool to be joined up with these guys, even as only my second project. I love it, you know.
That's super cool, and it also is really interesting just to hear like the yin and yang of those two stylistic differences.
Oh yeah.
You know, do you find yourself somebody that falls in the middle of that as a drummer, or were you like,
oh yeah,
was this like, you know, more? Because I imagine you weren't doing as much type stuff in like your Brooklyn indie rock band.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. It was a lot faster, for one thing. I mean, as a drummer, I would categorize myself as, I guess, like more pop punk sort of stuff.
Sure.
That's why I started out on just learning how to play Blink-182 songs and everything. And, you know, word got out in my social circles enough for people to ask if I could play drums for them. And when it came to this band, our buddy, Anthony Gaffoli, shout out Gaffoli. He's a dude. He hit me up last year, and he knew that I play drums, and he was like, "Hey, these guys are looking for a drummer. I'm probably going to join the band too." Came down one weekend, and we jammed, and pretty much been on the road ever since, you know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit more, you know, color to that story, but you know, it's that's pretty much the long and short of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like your first time essentially like playing like shows and like playing shows like with like a metal band.
Yeah, no, without a doubt.
Nice.
Yeah. That's the same goes with T2. He's our new boy right here.
It's my first band.
Yes, sir.
Very cool.
Picked a good one. I like to think of myself as like Lars in Metallica, how he only joined Metallica.
Yeah.
That was his only band.
That's all you
I'm
need.
gonna try to make that run.
Hell yeah. I love that attitude. What about you, Mom?
I've been playing shows for probably like 12 years. I've done different bands too, anything from like metal to deathcore, hardcore, and I've done like 80s tribute stuff too. So
Sure.
kind of been all over the place.
Gotta get a little cheddar in the pocket.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Understood. And Kevin, me and you're a little familiar. I know you've been around doing the thing.
We've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
No,
This is my first dream pop band.
I think that the genre should be dreamcore.
there you
Call
go.
yourselves dreamcore.
Dreamcore.
Yes.
Sounds harder.
Fuck it, just go with it.
Kick you into your dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll probably have a lot more luck getting like click through engagement if you can get like Metal Sucks or Metal Injection to be like new dreamcore band on the scene. It'll just be like a bunch of fucking grumpy 40-year-old men from Indiana clicking on it like fucking pussies.
Yeah. Where
Have you read those
viral
comments?
maps?
Have you read through those comments?
Which comments?
Any post that
Oh,
they
yeah.
make? Not the Facebook comments, the actual in the article comments.
Oh,
it's like these people wait night and day
Oh yeah.
for this to happen. And the second anything drops, sucks. It doesn't matter what it sucks. This sucks. Why would you post this? It's like, it's called Metal Sucks.
Yeah. It's I was just having this conversation recently with somebody about like gear forums, like stuff on like Reddit or stuff like where people like are like, oh, like this new microphone came out, or I'm trying to do this thing with this plugin. And it's just funny how even like in the most like hyper specific question where there might be like 10 replies, a very specific thing, like, oh, I'm trying to figure out how to toggle this weird function in Pro Tools or something. There's always one person, regardless of how niche the comment is just like, you're an idiot. It's like, how'd you even find this thread? How'd you get here? It's so strange.
That's
They're
what they
waiting in
do.
the weeds.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at this point, it's kind of like a badge of honor to get like a negative comment about your music online. It's like, well, thanks for listening.
Oh,
I don't know.
We got
It's better
haters.
than no comment.
Right.
You know, it's the fucking worst if you like put a ton of work into something and it's just like crickets. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
Like if it sucks, it sucks. At least somebody saw it. I just want to be given the opportunity to like get some sort of an opinion from you, whether it's positive or negative. Just give me the chance.
Yep.
And I think
without
that's
a
why
doubt.
I like playing shows still at my core the most. The online stuff is cool. It's cool to be able to connect with people all over the internet and to make connections with people. I mean, I have a fucking podcast, so of course, you know,
Oh yeah.
I'm into it. But it's still like with the music stuff, it can be like super duper disheartening when you're just like pumping so much into the online stuff and it just seems like it's not going anywhere. But then you could play a fucking show just to like 15 kids in the middle of nowhere and they're just all punching each other in the face. You're like, oh, okay, sick.
Yeah.
love it.
Like
Why
this
we
is
do
like,
it.
you know, so much better, even though it's still not like some huge fucking big arena thing. It's like maybe one day we can get there, but I just like as many shows as possible as my band can play, regardless of how many people are there. It's always the best because I'm confident in my band. I know we could put on a good show. And if there's 5 kids there, I'll make sure one of them is punching somebody by the end of the set. That's all I fucking care about.
There you go. And
Yep.
you're
You
good.
know? So now you're starting to get some shows and you're starting to mingle with other bands and other promoters and things like that. And how do you feel about, you know, the state of heavy music, underground heavy music right now? This might be more of a question for maybe Kevin or you, since you've been in this a little bit longer than the other gentleman in the room. Start with you, Kevin.
Well, post COVID, things were a little bit different. We had the crazy dynamic of we went to Sonic Temple just to enjoy the show.
Mm.
And I mean, thousands of people for all these bands. I remember before COVID, it was no one really cared about space. Like you're going this close to somebody at all times and no one cares. And it's like you're in your own world and no one else matters. Now, even for like Sleep Token, for example, we waited 2 hours to get pretty close and I still had some breathing room in front of me and we were able to get out if need be. That was something I kind of noticed. As we get into the underground thing, we just played Maryland. And I always get asked, hey, are you ever like nervous about a show or like anything? I never know until I get there. When we pulled up to the area, I was like, I'm moving here. This is a beautiful area. I love this
Great
place.
town.
The place itself, I've never heard of. I never really researched it, never really went in. And it
Where
was,
were you at?
Frederick, Maryland. This is Cafe 611. where we
Okay.
at.
Huh, yeah.
And we went in. They had a sound system. They had a stage. They had lights. I was like, oh, this is legit. And I got excited. So then, because we're not from Maryland, I was like, well, I have no idea how many people are going to come. 10, 50, 5, who knows? There was probably over 100 people there.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Shout out Carl Bonura. He's the boy who set that up.
It was a good show. Bands loved it. Everyone talked. We were able to sell merch before we even played. And I guarantee those people had no idea what we sounded like. So I was floored by that. And then people watched us and they stayed. And they're like, we liked how you sound. I'm like, wow, nice.
Hell yeah.
So other than that, man, it was a good time all around. I think the underground scene, remember when Knocked Loose was an underground band?
Oh yeah.
I think it's still flourishing. I think it's no matter.
Yeah, we're
Yep.
pretty much them.
No. That's not what I'm getting at. Back then, it was building, right? Now, yes, it's still building, but people come out and they have a good time. I think it's good in general.
Yeah, no, I think that there's definitely opportunity in like the underground for like weirdo heavy bands to get big. And there's always that. I mean, it's very few and far between. You know, we only get so many Knocked Loose or so many Corns or so many. What other bands begin with K? Can't think of another heavy one right now. But you know, fucking Slipknot, whatever. You know,
Right.
Gojira, I don't know how many Deftones. These are all random, just heavy bands. I'm just saying out loud. But even like that's like a the scale that those bands are operating at now is like completely insane. But like even just to be able to play like, like a Mr. Smalls or like, like your 5 to 1,000 cap rooms consistently is like pretty successful. You can definitely maintain a pretty healthy lifestyle as a band if you're able to get to that point. And it's not impossible. I think a lot of it is just like connecting with artists or connecting with fans, not artists. Fuck other artists. Never be friends with people in bands. They'll do nothing but try to take advantage of you. No, I'm joking. I'm being very, very, very negative right now. No, but I think that what you guys are doing is really cool because like I think that you have like a lot of the stuff that a lot of people don't think about kind of down right now in terms of just like, you got solid songs. I'm assuming you could play them live. I haven't seen you play live yet, but I know that you just put out like a studio session or something.
Yep.
Right? Haven't watched it, but I saw it. I pay attention.
Okay.
I don't always have time to click play, but I know what's going on. But you got good branding, and I imagine like you're talking about like the merch and selling stuff before people see you, and that's something that like with Grey Walker, I'm very big on the merch, and we see a lot of stuff like that too when we're playing shows where like we'll set up. Make sure somebody's sitting at the fucking table the whole time. You can't sell merch if nobody's there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really fucking important. I know it sucks to sit there. Get somebody to sit there. You'll sell fucking merch.
Yep.
And again, like have designs like where it's like, we have some stuff that like, it's like, I wouldn't fucking wear that. But like, I know people would like it. You know what I mean? It's like that shirt's a little bit too like Monster Energy drink for me.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like that shit. So fuck it. It's not about me. Let's just fucking sell some shit. You know what I mean?
So I'm laughing. Ty, you got to take this.
As far as bad shirts go, we have an inside joke
Okay.
of some shirts that big bands put out that are absolutely terrible. And I hate saying it because it's my favorite band of all time, but Pantera just put out a shirt with the guy on the front of it that's just like smoking a joint. And I think it's probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And we joke about it all the time, and I hate doing it, but it's just so bad.
And that just comes off of Sonic Temple too. So we were at Sonic Temple, 4-day show, same exact merch all 4 days. Okay. Some bands change out. I'm talking like 2 or 3 changed out. Fuming Mouth was playing. That's one of my favorite bands. And they're like, we got merch over there. I was like, sweet. I go over and they're like, no, we don't. Cool. So Pantera, they had their merch kind of in the middle, and they have 2 designs. Not great designs. But the headliner of each night will have a far left tent. Misfits, Disturbed, they all did. So I'm waiting for Pantera. I'm like, all right, maybe they're waiting for like their headlining day to have good merch. Nope. Same 2 designs, just moved over.
Huh. Yeah, that's.
So we're big on merch too.
Yeah, I think that I know it's a pain in the ass. A lot of people aren't into it, but like, I don't know, like when we get into that conversation about like, how do you make money as a band? And it's just like, just fucking make the merch.
Yeah.
Make a lot of it. Make stuff for everybody. I know it sucks being in a metal band. You want to print everything on black t-shirts, print some stuff on white, gray. You'll sell it. Trust me. People like that shit. There's always some fucking normie dude that like Jeff works with. Jeff is just like an ambiguous person that's coming to your show that doesn't want to wear a black t-shirt, but wants to say he went to the rock and roll show.
Right.
So he'll fucking buy the shirt. It's another $20 in your pocket. Just do it. And set up there all day. Like, I mean, that's so funny because like, I know that sometimes in those festival settings, there's a lot of red tape that goes into selling your merch. Like the festivals, like sometimes they put a limit on how much stuff you could sell and like number of designs. There's like percentage cuts. There's like, it's ridiculous.
There's a lot that goes into it for sure. And I realized that looking at it after 2 days, I was like, it's probably what's going on. But like, man, Tyler here has been working for Live Nation for a while. He knows all about the merch stuff. Tell him about Noah Kahan.
So we work Noah Kahan in Star Lake in Burgettstown, and he broke the single day amphitheater sales record for merch anywhere ever.
Jesus.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It was insane.
Beautiful.
People love his merch. People love those $80 hoodies. But yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, so Normal Creatures, we played a show with Mark Rubier at Stage AE. It was a sold out show. And I was talking with the merch person for Marc Rubier while we were setting up our merchandise. And I don't remember why it came up exactly, but like through whatever reason, he had told me that they were in like Washington, D.C. the night before and that they had sold like 30 grand in merch on like one show, you know, and that's just like in like a, you know, a couple thousand cap room in DC. And it's just like, you know, yeah, if you're selling, if you're getting into like doing like hoodies and weird like bathrobes and all this crazy stuff merch and you have like a feverish fan base, you can make a lot of fucking money.
Hundreds of thousands, like a show.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like everybody, like, I mean, this is like incredibly transparent, but I'll throw it out there just because like I want bands to take advantage of this shit. Like Grey Walker played Millville Music Fest. I fucking I went down at fucking 10 in the morning, set up all of our merch, and I was there from when bands started until the fucking end of the day. And we sold like $1,200 in merch all day. You know, people were selling, like people were coming by, like even like people that were like, oh, like I'm going to this or that later. I'm not going to be able to catch you guys, but I've been wanting to get a shirt. Like I just stood there all fucking day. And like, you know, I mean, we can pretty much pay for like a good chunk of recording our goddamn next thing with that money from just sitting there one day. And it's just like, you know, I'm like looking around at the other bands that were playing and there's just like, there's merch that's set up and nobody's sitting there all fucking day. People were like walking around. People were looking at stuff. You see them look around, see if anybody's there and they just keep walking.
Did you guys open for Trivium at the Roxy?
Yes.
I was there.
Oh, hey.
You guys are actually on my playlist.
Nice.
Hell yeah,
Very
dude.
cool. Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
You can get a shirt, so fuck you. No, but yeah, so I don't know. The merch thing is huge and it's also not that complicated to get stuff made. A lot of people will hit me up like how do I get stuff printed and stuff like that? It's like there's so many fucking options. But, you know, with that being said, if anybody ever has any questions about where to get things printed, feel free to hit me up and I'll gladly send you a very long laundry list of options.
If I could jump back to one of the points you made about sort of bridging the gap between like hardcore metalheads and, you know, your regular average Joe sort of normie getting into the scene and whatnot. I really like what Craig Reynolds is doing. We actually
Who's that, Bobby?
Here we go.
Who's that?
It's one of them drummer guys.
Yeah, you ever hear of Straight from the Path?
Never.
Oh, you should check him out sometime. The stupid inside joke we have.
We only talk on inside jokes. It's at that point.
So what he's got going on with like the downbeat and everything and his merchandise with that, I feel like that's sort of ignited a sort of movement with making merch for the more average Joe, sort of like sneakerhead type of dude. Cause he'll have like heavyweight, like pale pastel, you know, pink tees and whatever.
Yeah.
And I go on his merch store sometimes. I'm like, wow, that's actually like super sick because it's not just your plain like black long sleeve shirt when it comes to metal and everything.
Every metal show I've ever worked selling merch, you have people come up and they're like, I want that black shirt.
Yeah.
And you turn around and there's 10 of them and you're like, you're gonna have to be a little more specific.
Yeah, totally.
100%. And then like Turnstile, when they released Glow On, they did their merch line and they got all those, you know, cloudy pink sort of vibey things. And I know they're not like the big like metal band, you know, but just, you know, sort of in the core and whatnot.
It's still like alternative music.
Yeah.
And like I've kind of had this weird thing where I guess one thing, my drummer definitely has like I think it's like a light pink downbeat hoodie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
represent.
yeah. So yeah, my drummer for Normal Creatures, Leo, I know he's really into Craig Reynolds.
Oh, we love Craig Reynolds.
Yeah. I mean,
he's got a cult following. Of
yeah, he's a very good drummer.
yeah.
So but what I was thinking about, and I've been thinking about this a lot because like right now with Grey Walker, we're, we're doing that thing where it's like big things coming soon.
Yeah.
But we're not actually saying that. But, internally, that's how it is. We're working on a bunch of new music. And with that comes all of the, what do we do? And I
Us
guess
for the
also
past
with
6
all
months.
with also with like normal creatures too. It's just like with creatures, we just tracked drums last week for a full length. So we're getting close to putting that out. And, it's like band merch. Okay. It's like, why are we still doing all black shirts? Why do we still have these designs that look like this fucking nails thing? Why are we still using that fucking font?
what the
Why are we
fuck,
still doing
Kevin?
this? And it's like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like it's an aesthetic. It's a well-established aesthetic that's going to sell well. It's like you could very easily get like some fucking gnarly looking drawing of someone ripping their fucking face off, black and white, cool logo. You know what I mean? You can barely fucking read it. You're going to sell it.
I'd buy it.
But it's also like,
I'm sold.
I wonder if and when, how does like the culture of like extreme music, like from like an artistic standpoint, how does the visual of that evolve or change? Or does it ever change? So I go back to looking at like fucking records that like Testament and Slayer put out in like the early 80s when all of this shit was like new. It was actually new.
Mhm.
And it's like everything still looks the same. Now it's like something happened where it was like a switch.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is a good idea. And we've created this aesthetic. And now we're still doing it.
Mm.
I mean, it's cool. It looks cool. But like, I don't know. Does that make sense? Like, does it? Like, I don't know. I'm just like, how do we change? How do we grow? I don't know. Then you see stuff like Turnstile, but also that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I don't know. In my brain, I'm just like, why does everything look this way? Why does every single album have the logo here and the title there and the cover looks like this? I don't know. It's just like, I feel like we get into these routines of things that we feel like we're supposed to do. Like we're supposed to have 2 fucking music videos and a guitar playthrough and a session playthrough and an EPK and all this stuff. And, I'm not calling you out specifically because my band did the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? And like, it's just like, but like, why? I guess it's the normal thing to do.
I think we see what bigger bands are doing. We're not trying to copy them, but we see like, okay, they did it. They're all on big labels.
It's a template.
Someone's doing something right somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's so interesting. I think that the hard pill to swallow, for me, is when Grey Walker did our last full length, that would have been, we put out like some stuff after this, but the last like big fucking release was like pre-COVID. And that was like the fucking, we had the whole fucking timeline, like multiple music videos, everything all scheduled to drop, big, like, like sending stuff out to fucking all the people, doing all that stuff. And like, I mean, ultimately nothing happened. It wasn't fucking COVID's fault. It wasn't any, then what I was saying is a hard pill to swallow. I think at the end of the day, I just think that like the music wasn't good enough. And it's not bad, but like if you're trying to, swing dick at a certain level, it's just like, we're just not hard enough, yet. So it's like something that I'm always trying to work towards, with my stuff. Is just like making sure it's like, could do all this other shit, but like at its core is like, do these riffs rip?
Yeah.
I hope so. But you never really know until you have hindsight from other people. But you need to like, you can't just like wait for everybody to like it and then be like, oh, okay, well, now that everybody likes it, now we're going to make all the music videos and do all this other stuff, because then, you're fucked on like the Spotify and playlist stuff. It's like, it all has to be perfect before anybody's heard it. But how do you know it's perfect until people hear it?
the timing has to be perfect. The ads have to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect and timed well. If you miss that little window, see ya.
Yeah. That's bad.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And we also come from a place that like there's no music scene.
Nope.
So it's hard to get like feedback from people close to you. Because anytime anyone in like my family listens to our music, they're like, I made it a few seconds, and I was like, but so like most of our feedback pretty much has to come from the internet because there's no one locally to us that's like, I don't know.
Totally.
There's no venues, no scene, not really anything unless we travel out of town.
Yeah. And the feedback from the internet can be so tough because like, I don't know if anybody else here has people in their life that are like this, but I have quite a few of the people that anytime I post something online, it's like they like it, they're like sick, cool,
They're
you
gonna
know,
hype
like
you up,
they're just
yeah.
like, they're like online people that like really, really support like what
You
I'm
can
doing.
appreciate that, you know.
Yeah, totally. But then you see them motherfuckers in real life and it's like, oh, so what have you been up to? Like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, like we put out this thing and it's like, oh, did you guys like, I didn't see it. It's like, motherfucker.
You liked it.
Like, I'm a maniac and I keep track of every single person that likes anything I post online because I'm a psychopath. So I know that you fucking like this thing. So it's like, are you just like liking it just to like, just be like, oh, okay, cool, you did something, but not actually checking it out, which is still like supporting in a way.
Yeah.
But it just makes me like really not trust so much of my like online engagement because it feels like it's so passive. Like people are like, oh, cool, like I saw that, like, I liked that you guys did that studio session, but I didn't actually watch it, but I liked that you did it. And it's like, okay, that's not helping. So it's just like, I need to get that, this again, it's like why it's like so important for me to just get out there and fucking play, even if it's only fucking 10 kids. I don't know. I just want to be able to like talk and, touch grass or what would be like the metal equivalent of touching grass?
Getting a bloody
touch
nose.
pit. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need to just get out there and like see people face to face. It's just so crucial, but it is really hard to do, especially if you're coming from like a city where there isn't much of a community or like a scene at all. I mean, like even if me like being here in Pittsburgh, it's not even any easier here sometimes because like in a way there's almost like too much going on. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Grey Walker has been in this really weird position over the years here in Pittsburgh where I feel like we've been kind of like genre misunderstood to some degree. Like a lot of people will like call us like, I guess we're kind of metalcore, but not really. Like I would say like if you're gonna go like Darkest Hour is a metalcore band, then sure, I guess we're metalcore. But also when I think of metalcore, I think more of like Killswitch Engage or like Atreyu or Bullet for My Valentine. And we don't sound anything at all like any of those bands. I've never fucking one pretty sound has never come out of my mouth.
I feel like
And, like-
metalcore now is like whatever's on Octane, but like early 2000s, it was like Killswitch Engage, string skips, all that. Chunks.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
a completely different ballpark.
It's funny how over time like metal's interesting because it has so many subgenres, but also like what those subgenres are is constantly changing. Like what grindcore was when I was in high school is not what grindcore is now. Metalcore is not the same. Hardcore is not the same. It is always shifting to some people. It's why I just always try to be like, hey, like we're a metal band.
I think if you
And,
like
like-
it, you like it, and that's what matters.
Totally. But like in like this like weird ecosystem of like Pittsburgh metal, I feel like there was a long time where it's like, oh, they're like, I always felt like this is me putting my feelings on me. What is it? I'm just assuming nobody's ever said any of this shit to me, but it's like, oh, like they're just too much of this or not enough of that. And like, they
Yeah.
won't, like, we don't, it wouldn't make sense for us to play together. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
We're just like, it's like,
Just
it's
vibing.
loud
Yeah.
and it's fast and we're all yelling.
Oh, dude.
It
Like,
seems like that's pretty much that's all I'm really interested in
Does it
here.
make
Actually, it doesn't
me
even have
do
to.
this?
Actually, just loud and yelling. It could be fast or slow. The tempo doesn't fucking matter to me. Preferably it's a little dynamic, and you can give me a little bit of both.
Mhm.
So, but it's cool that the ball is starting to roll for you guys, and it seems as though you're having some positive experiences. Maryland was sick. You said
yeah.
you got the fun house
yeah.
coming up at Mr. Smalls.
We do.
Will that be your first like Pittsburgh? So where's technically
What is
God's
this?
End based out of? Or are
So-
you like all over the map?
The
We're kind of
Ohio.
all over.
Yeah.
We're all over the tri-state. So I'm from Weirton in West Virginia, like up at the top of West Virginia. That's like where the band spot's at and everything. And then Kevin's down in Wheeling. Then Bobby's up north.
yeah, East Liverpool.
And Tyler's like right in between me and Kevin. So we're kind of everywhere.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Right on the finger.
Yeah. So like in a way where it's like you're in an interesting position where it's like there is no like necessarily like hometown or home base. and every show in a weird way is kind of like an out of town show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically.
Columbus isn't too far. Pittsburgh isn't too far. Cleveland isn't too far. Maryland was only 4 hours, so it was fine.
Yeah. I think 4 hours is like the healthy threshold where once you start to get past that, it's a little chaotic.
But we did Virginia last year, and that was 8 hours,
Mm.
but it was fun.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
it was a good
Went
show.
to the beach.
Nice. Yeah, I think that, it's just you just have to do it. I don't know. Just gotta, if you want to do it, you just gotta fucking do it.
Yep.
Get out there and do it. The thing that's cool about, I think the advantage that you might have not necessarily having a like air quote hometown is I think it's really easy for a lot of bands to kind of get stuck in a hometown cycle where it's like, oh, like if you get into a circle of, I see a lot of bands do this where, basically they're just the same shows happening every month at one of the same 2 venues with the same fucking 5 bands over and over and over and over and over again. Or you get the bands that are, kind of there's a couple in Pittsburgh and they're all my friends, so I'm not going to call them out specifically, but it's like anytime there's like a band coming through at like Preserving or something, they're opening up. And it's like you get into this cycle of like opening up and doing like Dresky shows or something like that where you're selling tickets and shit like that. It's like, how can you even have the focus to think about playing out of town or doing other shows if you got like every other week you're having some show in your hometown that you have to promote and sell tickets for? There's no even space to even try to think about getting outside of that bubble. So I think you're probably at an advantage where it's like you have to put in that work to get any show in general.
Oh yeah.
Versus like, just falling into that comfy cycle of like every other week, Jim Bob's going to hit you up to play at the Smiling Moose again. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just going to do this. But some people are happy with that too.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to be like in a touring band. And I don't fucking blame them because that shit is raw. It's real fucking raw, So what's
we played
the
like one I would consider it a hometown show. It was in Wheeling because that's like 10 minutes from where I live. And it was a lot of fun, like seeing friends and family there. But I think it's more of like a once a year kind of thing that would be fun, not doing it relentlessly like every month or
sure.
every couple weeks.
I think that you could also get into you get like a distorted sense of comfort or success if you're playing hometown shows all the time and like you're saying like 40 people are coming out all the time. It's like, yeah, this is cool and these are all decent shows and everybody's having fun, but we're not actually growing. And that's a weird thing to kind of realize. It's like, I kind of like made that joke earlier about like, don't be friends with people in bands. And like, I'm not serious about that, but I do think that it's like, don't get too comfortable, I think, in one place as a band. I think it's like really important to just be like always trying to like do the next thing.
Reach
but
a little bit.
also I think that it could be kind of unfortunate though if you kind of like are constantly trying to grow but not staying connected with the people that you've like with the fans that you've gained over the years. I don't know. Like I had this weird thing recently with Paramore. Or, the band Paramore.
No, who's that?
My good friends Zach Taylor and Haley from Paramore. We go way back. Paramore's a band that I enjoy. I've enjoyed Paramore for close to 20 years now. They've been a band for a very long time.
Very controversial.
And they're a very
weirdly very controversial.
They're a very successful
They
band.
are, absolutely.
And like, right now they're touring Europe with Taylor Swift.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, they're doing this big stadium tour with Taylor Swift in Europe, and that's a pretty good opportunity. And the point that I'm trying to get at is that like they're doing this thing online now where like they're like obviously because they're opening up for Taylor Swift in Europe, there's getting a lot of new eyeballs on them. And now they're like kind of acting as if they're like a new band on social media and doing all these like hey, we want to introduce ourselves to you and all of our new
Mm.
fans, which I get, but also like, don't sell yourself short like that. Like you're fucking Paramore.
Or
Yeah.
like headlines are like,
Like-
who is Paramore?
Yeah, you've seen that
Yes.
shit. Yeah, and it's just like it's fucking Paramore. And like, but I guess maybe there's just some people that just like, it could just definitely be over their heads, especially for maybe, I imagine there's a good chunk of people that are going to those shows that are maybe just younger people, and it's like, maybe they weren't even alive when Paramore put out their first album.
Yeah.
But I feel like
So-
it's one of those bands where like they may not know Paramore, but as soon as you play like one or two of the like big hits, they'll be like, "Oh, I've heard this. I know this."
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, to that point, like also, I feel like who Paramore is now versus who they were close to 20 years now. I think their sound has evolved like crazy. I think they have the clout, I guess, for lack of a better term, to be able to be like, oh, okay, you might not have heard of us. This is us,
Yeah.
we're Paramore, because they sound, I mean, of course they're going to play like the hits and everything from like 05, 06 and everything. But what they have now versus like what they got then, it sounds very different, I feel.
totally.
Starting with like After Laughter,
Yeah.
like that's a whole different feel than what like Misery Business and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
That's just coming from the pop punk guy over here.
Totally. It's just so interesting to just like see a band like doing that. And like the point that why I even brought that up is just like, as you're continuing to grow as a band, like maintaining that fan base that has been with you and not like
Yeah.
abandoning it. And I
Yeah.
don't think that they've necessarily abandoned it, but it's so funny, like for me as an older fan of this band, just to
Mhm.
see them like acting as if like this part of their career doesn't exist and selling themselves short. And it's just like, it just rubs me the wrong way. But obviously things are going fine for them. They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
need my fucking advice or input.
We're just chirping from the bench.
Yeah, I mean,
when it
it's
comes
just
to
an
that.
interesting thing to observe, and it's just like it goes back to just like these are new like social norms for like promoting yourself as a band. And it's like
Mhm.
Paramore aren't the only people that exclusively do this. There's a lot of people that I follow, from like bands to just like weirdo theme park vloggers on YouTube, because I'm into roller coasters.
Hell yeah.
But it's just like, but I feel like it's like constantly, it's like they're always just like introducing themselves to people again, like, hey, here we are, this is who we are, this is what we do. And it's just like, I already know who you are.
Yeah.
And I understand that they're just constantly trying to grow,
Mhm.
but it's like, well, where's the content for me?
Yeah.
Like now that I've been here and I see you just keep on doing the same thing, it's like, why am I even watching anymore?
I feel like you could do that in a right way, and you
Yeah.
could do it in a wrong way, in my opinion. Because the way now I'm just assuming the way you feel towards like Paramore and everything, and this is like across the board. I feel like I'd feel that way towards like Fall Out Boy or like Panic at the Disco, because I mean, like I grew up listening to their stuff, and then come like mid-teens when they release all that sort of radio friendly, almost poppy stuff, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Well, it's kind of funny when like if we're like talking about like all of that, like I feel like Fall Out Boy, like so like Fall Out Boy or Paramore or Panic, like it was all pop.
yeah,
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just like, and it was all radio friendly. I mean, like, if you're like, I don't know how old you were, let's just say like you're like 12 years old and
pretty
Fall Out
much,
Boy.
yeah.
It's because it's pop and you're hearing it on the radio. That's
Yeah.
how you're finding out about it
Yeah.
as a 12-year-old. I think like the interesting thing is just like they've always been pop bands.
Yeah.
And like the landscape of what popular music is has changed.
Oh, yeah.
And they've just gone with it.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like when we're like younger and you see that with a lot with Paramore, it's like, oh, they changed so much. It's just like, no, it's just like you were like an edgy 14-year-old that thought like Paramore was this unique underground thing, but
Mhm.
you found out about it from a window display in Hot Topic at the shopping mall. So it
Pretty
really
much.
wasn't that underground.
Mhm.
It's just like they've just always been a pop band and you were just never that interesting. It's okay to like, be like, you don't have to be like this like edgy thing, you know. It's just like, it's okay. It's just, you liked popular music.
It's okay. And in about 10 years, we actually have a plan on just switching our whole genre to dream pop anyway. So
Dreamcore.
That's right.
You know, and it's interesting just to see like how alternative culture just kind of gets co-opted by things like even like the air quote, like I saw it was Box Lunch, you know, that store Box Lunch.
Yep.
I saw like a Star Wars, like it said like, I think it said like Stormtrooper in kind of like a black metal-y font, you know? And it was just like, even Disney's doing the black metal fonts now. So that goes back to like my conversation about like, why are we still doing all this shit when it's been like co-opted by everybody? It's just interesting to think about, like, what is even underground culture anymore? What was it ever? I don't know. Maybe we're just not that underground.
Yeah.
Maybe it's really not that hidden. I mean, we go back to being like, oh, you know, you're at Sonic Temple and there's thousands of people there and bands like Knocked Loose that are doing like crazy big things now that we think it's all underground, but really it's actually not that underground. You know what I mean? If you want to get into like, there's definitely some really gross underground stuff that's definitely not, you know, people don't really care too much about. But for the most part, so much of this stuff and like all of the, like, you had brought up like Sirius, like the octane core bands, all that sort of stuff. I don't know, would that be like your Bad Omens and your Spirit Boxes and all that stuff, which I mean, that's cool. It all sounds the same to me, but like I'm old, so I don't know.
I'm still waiting for a remaster of Count Your Blessings. I think I'm going to be waiting for a very long time.
So what is, you know, what's the, I guess we'll say 5-year goal for God's End right now?
Well, we did the EP.
It's going to be a long ending, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sorry, bad joke.
Did the EP. Pretty happy about that. We've been chipping away at potential next release for maybe an album. We're always, go ahead.
Yeah. So are you still considering as a band like releasing like a full length album's worth of music in modern day?
That's where it's hard because there's no rules.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. That's
Totally.
what I love. We have 10 to 12 songs kind of just sitting around. So we're just going to, you know, put the polish on them and see what we can do from there. The DIY recording probably is going to come to an end and then we'll have to rob a bank and have to really pay for it. But
sure.
That's okay. Maybe we'll make some really bad merch and sell that.
Hey, yeah, it helps. It helps. Yeah. Get a picture of, let me think. I guess since you're the Pantera fan, it could be you with like a vape on a shirt and that's just it.
I don't know who'd want to buy it, but I'm sure they're out there.
Beyond that,
Thank you.
I'm not sure. Like we haven't really sat down to discuss 5-year, 10-year, whatever year plan. We're just kind of having fun. We're just doing our thing and making music we want to make and going from there. I don't know about anything that you guys want to chime in with, but
Here to have fun. Thought it'd be cool. I don't plan on having kids, but if I have a kid at some point down the road, it'd be like, hey, look what I was doing when I was 23 years old. Like,
Yeah.
no big plans, just here living in the moment.
Yeah, just having a good time. Put out the album, play a bunch of shows, just basically hanging out with friends, doing cool stuff.
Yeah. And people seem to dig it so far, you know. So I'm just short term. I feel like that's what's gonna make us do all right is the fact that we're sort of just the present with this band. I know I'm not the only one who's had a pretty tough go at it for the past like year or 2 years or whatnot. So this band has honestly been like a blessing for me. It's given me a really nice sense of community. It's given me too many lessons to count. So I mean, one of them is definitely just staying present with it. And like when I'm with these guys, it's like nothing else really matters, you know. And I feel like when we connect with people at shows, like they could see it too, and they get into that groove also. And if we're able to extend a hand from how we feel towards each other, and reach out into the hardcore community with that same sentiment, I feel like we'll do just fine in 5 years. You know, if that were to be to wrap up or summarize what our 5-year goal would be.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Totally. I think that it's interesting where with the kind of music that we do, it's like, it feels like to put it on like a timeline like that always feels like really, really like silly in a way, because like it is really about like being in the moment. And I don't really think there is like a long-term sort of goal other than like the vague thing of like, well, playing more shows, playing bigger shows. And it's like, okay, well, the only way to really do that is just by playing a bunch of not big shows.
Yeah.
So that's really just it. And like, you know, whether it's like new music or old music or turning that stuff out, it's like, I don't even feel like releasing music matters all that much for me. I like recording the music, but it's just like, I don't know. It just seems like the albums aren't as important of a thing to me as just like playing shows, but you need to have like new stuff to promote. It seems like that's the only reason to like even put out music, because people want to like, so what's new? What's the new thing that you're doing? You know? And it's like, okay, I guess we got to have something new. So people could see that we're active.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like a catch-22.
It has to be like that's like a receipt of activity, but it's like, are you actually going to listen to this?
Right.
Well, I heard Fat Mike say something that his new thing is just singles. Like his label was only going to focus on putting singles out from different bands of just music. He's like, oh, I like that, because he thinks albums are just a thing of the past. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that I agree with that, and I like disagree with that. There's like, I think that if you're thinking about like the world from like a completely online perspective, I can definitely agree with that, because like I very rarely have the time to just like listen to an entire album digitally, you know?
But
like
when you do, it's awesome.
yeah.
Like when you sit down and listen to an album front to back, and like at the end, you're like, wow, that had a nice flow. It was just enjoyable. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think so. I think you need to like find a way to like balance both of those things with that normal creature shit that I was just saying that we're like recording and trying to, you know, get out there. I kind of have this plan of, I think that we're going to do the whole album and I'm going to like press it physically. So we'll have like some records and some CDs for the old people.
That's tight.
And if you come see us at a show, you could fucking buy the whole fucking thing. It's here. But I think as far as online stuff goes, I think I'm just going to release like one song a month and just do like basically like a year-long campaign for the album, because like I'm tired of like putting out an entire album worth of stuff and you see the streams and it's like, you know, the first few songs have a ton of streams and then it tapers off. And I don't think it's always because it's whack. I think it's just because like, oh, somebody only had like 10 minutes or 12 minutes going from, you know, here to the grocery store, from there to here to like, listen to the whole thing. You know, it's like if somebody's buying something physical, they're probably going to take the time to listen to the whole thing. And like, you know, I feel like if I just like, here's a new song every month and just take 4 minutes out of your day to give this attention, maybe like people will actually get to hear the whole album, even if it takes a longer time. And it might help me more with like all the stupid playlist algorithm and gaming system, all that type of shit. So we'll see how it goes.
You can compare that to TV shows on streaming now. Some put it all out at once. Here's the entire season. Enjoy. Some do it once every couple weeks. Invincible season 2 took a little while, you know.
Yeah.
But with them, there's no rules either. They're just kind of hoping for the best. If you want to watch it, you will. If you don't, hey, that's all right.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, if you comparing it to TV shows is actually really, really good, because like I feel like you get more of like a steady, consistent discourse about things, because it's like people are excited to hear the new thing and like all this stuff. And like when you have something like Stranger Things, it's like everybody fucking watches it. Everybody talks about it for a day or two, and then it's just like poof in the ether, gone, you know? And like, I kind of don't want that. Like I would like the idea of just being like, here, you know, we're dropping these songs every month, but it's like you could hear them all. It's kind of like the equivalent of like, oh, if you want to know what happens, you could get the book and read it. You know, but if you want to stay online and if you don't want to get the physical thing, then either come out to a show and hear us play it live, or you know, it'll get released online when it gets released online. So I'm kind of treating the real world and the online world in two different things, because like the real world is like my tri-state and hopefully expanding bubble of where we're going to be able to play shows and connect with people face to face.
Oh yeah.
And then like online is more like for the places that I could hope to grow later down the road to expand. So for me, it's more important to have like a consistent, like, okay, there's just like a streamline, like I know over the next like fucking 10 months, I have plans for all of this stuff that's going to be reaching all of those people. And then, you know, as far as playing shows go, just hopefully just play and try to grow, like have the online stuff just doing more work for me. But the songs have to be good.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Songs got.
I believe in them, but I'm still kind of in the honeymoon phase with these songs. Hasn't like set in yet. So we'll see what happens.
One thing I noticed about the new Bring Me the Horizon album was they released a lot of singles because, I mean, obviously the album kept getting pushed back. And I noticed all the comments were saying, like, you guys are releasing too many singles. When the album drops, I'm going to have nothing new to listen to. Obviously, their fan bases die hard and they're going to want to listen to the whole album. But I thought that was a cool thing to just see people still wanted to like listen to the whole album front to back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that was an issue that I had with Spirit Box, because like they kept on putting out so many singles, and then I was like, I can't wait to hear a full length from these guys because I think what they're doing is interesting enough. And then when they did like the track, they dropped like the track listing, and I was like, oh, so I'm gonna get 4 new songs.
Yep.
Cool. And like they weren't even like great songs.
Might be an interlude.
It's all just kind of like filler stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad that I could at least get all of this on like one record now and I have it for my collection, but I'm not getting like new content. You know, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
It's almost like the reverse of how like, it's like I would have liked it so much more if it was done in the way where like, you know, they can keep on like trickling stuff out for the online people, but like, hey, if you want to buy this whole thing now, you can have it. Cause I would have easily bought it and just been like, you know, I want to hear all of it now. I don't want to have to wait for it, but I don't know.
I think I like that because since I'm younger, I miss the whole age of going into a record shop or like a Sam Goody and like looking at CDs and being like, okay, I want to check this out. And then like, obviously you don't know what it's going to sound like until you put it in your CD player and listen to it. So I kind of missed out on that. It's all been streaming my whole life. So I get to hear it all. Right then and there.
Yeah. I mean, it's an easy thing to romanticize. Because I definitely come from the age of being like, you know, like you get a CD and it'd be like, you know, you'd see like the band would have like, you know, like shout outs to all of the bands that they've toured with. And you're like, you know, who the fuck is this band?
Yeah.
So then, you know, you go to the mall and you look at you find there's a card for that band, but the CD isn't there. And you're like, oh shit. I remember very specifically. So I saw Slipknot when they were touring the self-titled album, and they were touring with Dope. I don't know if anybody remembers Dope.
Yep. And
they had another band opening up for them who didn't even have an album out yet. This new band that nobody had ever heard of called Mudvayne. And they were fucking insane. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, because they had the whole, those when they were doing all the makeup and shit. And it was just like, what the fuck is this? And I remember like every time I went to the mall for like a year after that, just like, is there a Mudvayne CD? Is there a Mudvayne CD? Because this was like fucking like, I mean, like the internet was a thing, but it wasn't in my pocket. You know, I was in fucking 8th grade at the time, and I'm a fucking dinosaur. I'm like 62 years old. So, you know, it's like going to the mall every day. And then finally one day there was that Mudvayne CD, and I was like, yes, I fucking got it. And I fucking loved that fucking CD. Don't like it so much anymore. The Mudvayne shit. It didn't, I tried to like revisit that like a few years ago, and I was like, man, the mix on this is awful. But at the time I liked it a lot, so whatever.
I miss the days of seeing CDs that look cool and going, I'm gonna get this.
Oh yeah.
No clue who it is, and
yeah,
maybe you like it, maybe you don't.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, there was the whole thing. You just see stuff that looked cool. If it had the fucking fonts on it, like Word,
you see the font, you already know what it's gonna sound like.
Exactly.
Like, oh, this is gonna be a good one.
Yeah, it's very very telling. Or like labels were a big thing. Like it was like, oh, is this a metal blade? Is this on nuclear blast? Is this, you'd be able to be like, oh, okay, like seems cool. Never heard of it, but it's on this label, so I'll check it out.
Oh yeah,
Roadrunner was a big one for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
pure noise.
Yes. But yeah, it's different now. But I don't know. It's really cool to just be like, hey, like there's this new thing and you could just like look it up and check it out like super quick. But it doesn't. It's like way too temporary. I've noticed that like my ability to like actively listen to music has like really gone out the window with the availability to it. It's just like it's not the same. But I do my best.
Focused on like that 10-second chorus that can be put onto TikTok because no one has the attention span. Because anyone who puts videos online, you quickly realize that the retention is usually like the first 4 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So like everyone's shooting for that short clip that's gonna catch your attention. That's just gonna drive views.
Yeah, I think that I understand the importance of that, and I understand the psychology of it. And I think I've also just kind of embraced that. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to make art in that way.
No, it sucks.
Yeah, I need to find some like a hip, young, savvy business or music manager to help me do that sort of stuff because I'm not going to do it for myself. I can't fucking do it.
Even if you see like interviews of big bands, they hate the fact that they have to make TikToks or they have to do content like that. It's just like, why can't we just play music?
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult as a musician. I sometimes like I really envy like visual artists or like painters or photographers in a way where it's like if you could spend like a ton of hours on a painting, right? But once the image is done, a lot of people can kind of just like look at that image, give it like 4 to 10 seconds and be like, oh, I understand everything that this image is, and this is really cool. People that are more advanced can maybe go into it and be like, oh, like I like this brushstroke technique or this use of composition, like the nerdy stuff. But on a core, you can look at something for 5 to 10 seconds, understand the art and be like, that's a good artist.
Mm-hmm.
But there's very few musicians where you could be like, here's 5 to 10 seconds of one song. And now you understand me as a total musician. You understand the full body of my work based off of this. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really interesting too to see how like pop music has evolved to like this like song structures just don't exist anymore. It's like you get like hook, verse, hook, 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 song's done.
That's one thing I don't like about all the Octane songs. It's like a lot of the breakdowns are good, but I shouldn't have to listen to an entire song like just waiting to get to that breakdown at the very end of the song.
Yeah, it's all like way too predictable. I remember like going back to Spirit Box again. There was one day when we were having like a writing session with Normal Creatures. They had dropped a video like at the same time and I just happened to see it. So like we're like, oh, let's check out this new song. And then like we were like first time listening to it, we're all like, okay, here's this part. We were like calling out the parts as it was gonna happen. We were right about everything. Like here it is, they're gonna slow down, gonna pick it up. Like I mean, decent song.
Yeah.
But decent in the sense that it's like very like it's like formulaic, almost like it's cool that it was like reliable in a way where it's like, I know where this is going to go. It's like playing an easy video game sometimes where it's like, it's not challenging my brain. I'm just going from point A to point B and I'm having fun doing it. Great. That's how I feel about that band. But sometimes I do like to be challenged or surprised.
It's good sometimes, but other times you kind of want to think or you want to like hear something and be like, oh shit, I wasn't ready for
Get
that.
smacked in the face with a breakdown.
I feel like that's like a testament towards maybe artists could be sort of scared of treading into that sort of territory, because I know with us with the EP we just dropped, one of the hurdles we tried to cross over was okay, what are we expected to do and where could we sort of broaden out into untouched territory, like, okay, people are going to realize that like a breakdown's coming in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. can we possibly put that somewhere else in the song so that it
Yeah.
just like sort of blows it out of the water, you know?
Totally. It's like, it's hard because like they might be expecting it, but that's not always a bad
Oh,
thing
no,
because sometimes they
absolutely not.
want it. You know,
Yeah.
I bring this up all the fucking time. I apologize to people that listen to my podcast frequently, but I'm going to say this quote till the day I fucking die. All right. So I saw a quote on the back of a ketchup bottle when I was a teenager and it changed my life. Made me really think about things. It's really important and it's very, it comes up a lot because it's something that I think is worthwhile for artists to think about a lot. It fucked with me so much. So it was from a guy named H.J. Heinz, the Heinz ketchup man, the ketchup man. He said something and he printed it on the back of a ketchup bottle. It said, "To do a common thing uncommonly well brings success."
Legend.
The true mayor of Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So that, I mean, there's a lot to that. Because if you think about it, it's like the motherfucker was just making ketchup.
There they changed the name of Heinz Field.
You know, and it's just like, we're just playing breakdowns. Okay, you know, there's not a breakdown that exists that Unearth hasn't already written, but that's fine. You know, we can still do it in a way that is good. To do a common thing uncommonly well brings success. You know, it's like, you know, there's all kinds of food in the world. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty much at my happiest with just like a decent sandwich.
Yeah.
None of it's reinventing the wheel, but if it's a really nice, good, hearty sandwich,
Oh yeah.
I don't care if I've had a sandwich it was like this before. Every sandwich doesn't have to be a new sandwich. Doesn't have to be the best sandwich in the world. It just has to be a good sandwich in that moment. That's how I feel about breakdowns.
Hell yeah.
I feel that.
Breakdown
Mm.
sandwich.
Break that sandwich.
Delicious.
So as we are rounding the corner here, I think we can probably wrap this up in a minute here. We've been going for a healthy 70 minutes. That's a long time. But before we go, I want to let people know that are watching this or listening to this that if you want to check out the band, I will have some links in the description. But for anybody that doesn't have access to those links or is too lazy to click them or maybe driving or doing something, why don't you tell people where they can find this beautiful art?
So everything is basically at God's X End, the little X separating God's End. That's all socials. I mean, we have link trees. We are now spread across several YouTube channels from Slam Worldwide, Hardcore Worldwide, Ghost Killer Entertainment. So if you type in God's End Band, something will come up. Shows this summer toward the end of the year, all kinds of stuff going on. So if you check us out, heck yeah, appreciate it. If you like it, hey, thanks.
Very, very cool. Anybody else want to throw anything else in there before we wrap it up?
And pretty much nailed it for me.
Great.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds perfect.
Well, with all of that being said, this has been a podcast. That's all, folks. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much. One more time, God's End. Make some noise for the internet. I swear I'm going to insert that applause. I promise.
It'll get there.
I promise.
This is the one.
It probably won't happen.
It's okay. Get them next time.
I'll be back again next week with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Brian Sykes House. Start the Beat is the podcast. 2024 is the year. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you. Peace out. And we did it. That was a podcast.
Hooray.
Oh yeah.
Good job, boys.
Fuck yeah.
I feel so bad about that World Trade Center joke.
Yeah, you really set it up.
It'll probably-
Sorry about that.
Jeez.